Hey everyone, Simon back again today here for the Modern Awakened Perspective, your map for the path to enlightenment. And I've got at least a couple stories for you here today. The first one being about the big deal about the release of the Mueller report and Bill Barr's press conference on what it contained. Seems like a pretty big stink about his press conference. So, before I get into the first story, I'll say as usual, please give me a thumbs up if you like this content. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you have, I really appreciate your support. It's helping my channel grow. And the more subscribers I have, the more people will be able to find this sort of content further down the road when they go to search for it. So let me go ahead and get into this first story. This is probably going to be a little bit longer story than normal, just because there's so many reactions to what has happened. So this is titled Democrats Meltdown over the Bill Barr press conference. So Democrats seem to be melting down over how Attorney General Bill Barr is handling the release of the Mueller report. Barr scheduled a press conference for 9:30 a.m. this morning and told Congress that hard copies would be delivered maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours after his press conference. Now, the Democrats are in a real state of panic, with Representative Hakeem Jeffries saying that so-called Attorney General is presiding over a dog and pony show, that he should just release the Mueller report and keep his mouth shut. He said, "You have zero credibility." And I'm thinking, wow, can you believe that he said that about the Attorney General? Now, it's clear that they don't want, anybody to speak on the report before it comes out, because they want to have a chance to spin it in their own favor, of course. Now, they really wanted the report to come out before Barr held his press conference, basically, so they could put a spin on it. The fact that he has held his press conference before delivery of the copies is truly screwing up their plans. It seems that once learning about the plan to hold his press conference in the morning, the Dems decided to hold a preemptive press conference of their own there on Wednesday night. This includes Jerry Nadler, Adam Schiff, Maxine Waters, Elijah Cummings, and Elliot Engel, all drafting a message there talking about that they need to hold their press conference there Wednesday night to put their spin on it before Barr comes out and holds his press conference. And in their little letter, they said that Barr's press conference would be unnecessary and inappropriate. And you can see that they are really kind of nervous and anxious over what he's going to say, or what he did say, and then, kind of preventing them from controlling the narrative, which they always want to do. Now, the Dems are so upset now because Barr has exonerated President Trump's campaign from colluding with Russia during the 2016 election. The Mueller report, and the special counsel there totally found no wrongdoing by Trump. These were charges that were brought against him by corrupt operatives within the DOJ and the FBI. They used the phony Steele dossier to get FISA warrants against campaign advisor Carter Page, which led to the spying on Trump. Now, the findings of the Mueller report are devastating to the Democrats, to the deep state, and to the liberal media, who are all basically colluding themselves to make Trump look bad and to probably try to impeach him. So, let me flip over here. Speaking of the mainstream media and their BS, the meltdown continued as so-called reporters went into overdrive trying to accuse Bill Barr of protecting Trump. CNN and MSNBC all trotted out their Trump haters to try to pile on Barr after his press conference, and the mainstream outlets have basically spent over 2 years trying to convince the public of the Trump Russia conspiracy, and now they're having to try to save face or try to deal with the reality that what they were trying to peddle isn't the actual reality of the situation. Now, they basically look bad and they're busted, so they're still trying to do everything they can to discredit Barr and to make Trump look bad. They still want to go after impeachment, I'm sure. Now, the reporters seem to be acting more like Democratic activists with all their biased questions and accusations against Barr. Now the report exonerates also Trump Jr. and concludes that allegations against Carter Page used to justify the spying on the Trump campaign were all false. So this all looks horrible for the mainstream media, for the Democrats, and for the deep state. The bottom line is that the report concludes that there was no collusion and no obstruction. Also, as a note to this story, during Barr's press conference, Rod Rosenstein was in the background there, standing there stone-faced. He had a pivotal role in the attempted coup against candidate and then President Trump. He signed at least one of the FISA warrants. He appointed Mueller as a special counsel to investigate the collusion. He also spoke with the DOJ and FBI officials about wearing a wire to secretly record President Trump to try to build a case that he was unfit to hold office. Now, during the press conference, Rosenstein was visibly sweating and very tense during the press conference, addressing the Mueller report. Scared much is what I wrote here. Many on social media also made note of the look on Rod's face during the press conference, claiming that he looked pretty anxious and pretty nervous and pretty guilty, basically. So that's it for the story here. I'm sure there's going to be much more to report on about this as people, the deep state and the media continue to lose their mind, that they're losing control of the narrative. So, as usual, the comment section will be open, so everyone can make a comment, whether you agree or disagree with anything I've said here. Please feel free to comment, and we can start a discussion. That's the only way to come to an understanding. So, again, that's the story from my perspective, and I'll see you guys on the next video.